the derivation of Frappe is framework plus apps.
Open source has been the cornerstone of Frappe.
The first month I joined, I just chose my own product. Work. I've been working on it for almost 7 months now.
So I'm still struggling to find a balance between conventional wisdom and experiential learnings.
The softwares that your company makes reflects the values that your company holds.
Because I work on ERPNext, I also want that ERPNext should be the best product in the world.
Hi, I'm Michelle, and I look after the new products at Frappe. I help the team work closely with them, help them identify which features to add, and yeah, just I don't know what I do, man. Like, cut this.
From my childhood, I like to code, and I was a hobbyist programmer. And coming from a family of entrepreneurs, I always wanted to become an entrepreneur. So when I graduated from college and I got a chance to join my family business, they were struggling from an ERP systems implementation. And that is where I saw an opportunity, because I thought I was skilled enough to write a program to maybe write what those people were writing. During that time, it was also the early days of internet and internet-based software, and there were no web frameworks. So I also built a web framework which is called Frappe framework during that time, and that became the foundation of what became Frappe. So Frappe started in 2008 as WebNotes Technologies.
I joined this company in year 2008, which makes me a co-founder, and it's been a journey of 17 years now. I think working collaboratively with the team, building products, and seeing the entire ecosystem evolve from nothing. I joined the company and I was handed over a large booklet of a user manual. That was the first product which was built by the company, and there was only one customer. So I knew nothing about the company, about the product, and there was no onboarding whatsoever. So from day one, I think it was self-driven culture which I found.
We build 100% open source software that helps businesses operate their business and grow their business. It's also helping a large ecosystem to build a sustainable business out of reselling and using our solutions to solve end customers' problems.
The most prevalent model currently is a top-down manager-employee approach, where you're assigned tasks and are expected to complete them. Whereas here, it's the complete opposite. Initially, it was a struggle adapting to Frappe, where you're not given anything. You have to figure out, speak to people, understand how things work, and then decide what you want to work on. It was a struggle initially, but I think this is a much better model compared to the traditional model that's followed in pretty much all of the organizations here.
So one thing about bureaucratic companies is how long it takes to do anything. So I'd finish this feature in a day, but my manager would take like a week to review my work. So I think that internship went on for 3 months, but I barely got anything done. Contrast that to Frappe. I was here for 4 months. I almost built 4 separate small products, but still meaningful work that I liked and that challenged me.
Having been worked in Frappe for 3 years, I've noticed few qualities in Frappe that I like very much. To list a few of them, it would be like the completely flat organization structure. Employees are given complete ownership in decision making to decide on what they want to work on and how much they want to get paid as well.
In the last 2.5 years, I have been into 6 roles at Frappe. I started as a partner manager, where it was more of partner acquisition back then. Then we had a team called as SMB, where we were focusing on small size customers. Then I was focusing on India West as a territory, along with Path. Then I got the opportunity to manage Europe as a territory. After that, I worked as a partner acquisition manager, where my work was to acquire partners across the globe. Post that, I was focusing on entry-level partners, and currently I'm still I'm actually focusing on India West right now as a partner manager.
Frappe believes in building products that give power back to the users. It shouldn't be accumulated to one organization or a select few organizations. So when you build out in the open and give it away for free, the users can then make it their own, build on top of it if they want to. But even if not, they can just use the product as is without having to be locked in, without depending on Frappe, either for money or anything else.
But I'd never worked with any other company before. This was like right out of college, and I've always freelanced. So it has been very different for me. And I was working, and then eventually, after the project I got hired for, I decided to like explore more, and I got into proper marketing, like the marketing team. And then I realized that it's a very interesting way to, work in a corporate because first of all, I've never been exposed, and secondly, like this is just new. So it was really interesting to see that people have like, I could pick that I wanted to be in the marketing team now. I could pick that I didn't want to work on my previous projects. And I could pick like how much money I wanted to earn, which is so weird to think about still. But it's there, it's true.
So I wanted to build a product, and since we were already building an ERP system, we decided to make that as the main product in 2010. We called it ERPNext, which was it was available as a $10 domain, ERPNext.com, nobody had taken. So that is why the name ERPNext. And from there, we started a very organic journey in building this very complex and massive software that it has become today. We started as a software as a service. So because it was very painful to go and talk to customers and convince them. There were so many times when I was asked to come at a particular time and then kept waiting for 2 hours outside. And then I felt it like I don't want to do sales anymore. So we started as an online system where customers could sign up and they could pay directly on the website. So I don't have to go and meet customers. And there was like a 30-day trial that they could take. If they liked the software at the end of 30 days, they would pay. If they didn't like, they wouldn't pay. So that is how we started ERPNext. We got our first customers mostly through Google AdWords. We ran a small AdWords campaign and we got signups, and that is how we started building customers. And since 2010, it's been a very long journey because an ERP is a very complicated software to build. So we took more than a decade to build. It's almost 15, 17 years for us building the same software, and we're still building it and making it better.
I've seen multiple ERP products in the past. The kind of experience which we get while using ERPNext, the UI and user experience is really important. And the way we can configure the product as per our requirement, it's really important. So these are some of the very key features why people choose ERPNext.
I first interned at this company where I used ERPNext for a service that they needed. I actually didn't like ERPNext at all, and I wrote a huge blog post ranting about how the quality and feature set was quite bad. And then I mailed it to the team. That was a surprising thing. Normally, teams are not receptive of critical feedback, but here Umesh came back saying that he appreciated my feedback and that he has forwarded it to the team actually. And that was my first interaction with Frappe, and I found that really weird, right? Because most companies are not like that. A couple years later, I applied for an internship just because I wanted to expand my technical skills. And again, Frappe is very unconventional in the sense that I'm in high school, so most companies wouldn't even consider me for an internship. But Frappe actually considered me. We went through an interview process, and I was in for an internship.
I've learned this idea of first principles thinking when I was in consulting, but I actually saw it in practice in everything we do in Frappe. Like all of our solutions are never copied or just taken or borrowed. There's thought, like everything is done first principles. It starts with the problem to solve. And most solutions we've built, be it business solutions or products, it's mostly been first principles. Like a simple example is how we dog food our own products. I've been in companies where people actually don't use their own products. So that's one example I can give you, like first principles, using your own products, taking feedback from your own users is how we even begin building the products.
We have branched into a whole business suite developing company. We have CRM, we have a support, which is called as help desk, and then we have Frappe Insights, which allows you to process large amounts of business data. And then we have Frappe Drive, and we are planning to even come up with a video editor. So our start has been a humble start, but now we are pretty much branched into a full-fledged business suite developing software company in a way.
Frappe Drive it doesn't have too many customers because it's a relatively new product. But we do have, I'd say, like 10 customers that I speak to almost every month. So they tell me about the features they want. And that's how it mostly starts. And one great thing about Frappe is that we use our own products. It's called Dogfooding. So inside the company, Rushabh is a power user, Hussein is a power user. So I go to these people and ask them what features they want, how Drive is lacking compared to Google Drive. And I also am a power user of things like Dropbox. That's why I was so interested in Drive personally. So a lot of the features come from my own experiences and how I think Drive solutions could be better.
Throughout my journey, I think this is my third project. So I started with ERPNext, and then I realized that I want to be more accountable for my work which I'm doing. So I started with Frappe Education. So then I worked on it for almost around 6 months, and then I realized, I want to go more deeper into the front end development. That's why I made a switch to Frappe Help Desk.
So I've often been asked this question about why open source. And this is one of the things that makes us very unique in the software industry. For me, this idea of open source is very natural. Like, I don't have one specific reason why we are doing open source. Maybe in the heart, I wanted to build something that would last a very long time. And when I was introduced to open source software through the Python programming language, I realized that Python had everything that .NET and Java, the other platforms, had. And it was available for free, and it was built by a team of global community members. Like, there wasn't a company behind it, but there were a lot of volunteers who were building this software. Obviously, they were paid by various companies where Python programming language was used. And that gave me this very clear insight that if a software is good and available for free, then why would people ever pay for it? So for that reason, it was always very clear to me that if I have to write software or if I have to build a software company, it has to be based on open source software. Initially, we didn't realize that open source has a community aspect, which we realized much later. And because we were in India, there was no real open source awareness or community, or there was very little awareness and very little understanding of how open source software is built. One of the big challenges in open source is that because you give away the software for free, it's harder to build a sustainable business because people could download your software and use it for free themselves. And this is where our hosting services came in. Because we had a hosted version that people could host with us where we provided support and warranties. That is why we started getting customers. Even if you give your software for free, nobody's going to use it because it has to be very good. Like, mostly people don't accept substandard software even if it is free.
It took lots of patience. It took lots of time. It was, I think, in 2009 or 10, product went open source. But it wasn't like the moment it was made open source, there was lots of traction. No, it wasn't like that. We had to further simplify the installation of our products for the open source users, and we had to do lots of hand holding and offer free support through different channels and mediums to open source community, right? So it probably took 3, 4, 5 years for the core team to feed the community, and once it became a significant, once community was of significant size, the core team started to withdraw. But it was very nice to see how community came forward and started supporting the new entrant in the community. So that was again a very, very organic and time consuming process. But at the end of it, I think we have a very, very self-sustaining community.
Because it's open source and because we have a certain sense of morals, people are really invested in Frappe and ERPNext and our products' success. So I find that most of the community members are very friendly, very, very talkative, very interested in what we have to say, and they also give a lot of feedback too. So I love that about the Frappe community.
I think data is very important in today's society. The customers are more and more aware of privacy and their rights. So if you're using a closed source software in your organization, you can never be completely sure how safe your data is. But with open source software, you can have your teams have a look. You can ensure your customers that their data is truly safe. Their data is being used exactly the way it says in the code.
When people build things for themselves, uh, they really think of themselves as users, and that just makes the product also better.
The strength and the conviction to give away your work for free gives you a certain liberated feeling that you don't get anywhere else. In a capitalistic world, you don't get to see that kind of behavior, but it somehow worked out for us. Even though we are open source, we do make money through our Frappe cloud hosting platform, which has become the bread and butter of Frappe for the past couple of years now. Since we found a stable model, and without losing our core value of transparency and being 100% open source, we are going to stick to that.
Okay, so when it comes to a competition, since we are open source in nature, people definitely look at us as like we have created a product and a platform where they can enhance it as per their requirement. While the legacy product have a limitation when it comes to enhancement, right? There are some strict version upgrades and system updates which they don't do. They ask their customers to be stick on their older versions. They don't allow to migrate to newer versions because of the cost constraint and different constraint as well. Here, since the version upgrades and system updates are free of cost, people can easily migrate to a newer version. That's one of the biggest pain points which enterprises faces at this point in time. Also, the nature of the product is highly configurable, as I said, right? It allows them to, define their journeys, workflows in the product as per their requirement. This is also very important. And also, we don't have a license component. That's a very, again, an important factor when it comes to comparing it with the larger enterprise products. We don't have licensing, user-based licensing. So that's why we are succeeding in the market.
So Frappe is a company, for-profit company, and Frappe makes money. But the primary reason why Frappe exists is not money. That is one very interesting perspective, because if your company exists solely for the purpose of making money, then it becomes a very utilitarian entity. Then you only do things if they are valuable. But like if you really want to have fun, then you don't do things that are always utilitarian. Like you do things you want to do and you feel you genuinely interested in doing. It gives you joy, it gives you happiness, it gives you fulfillment. Like, so being a not hardcore capitalist company gives us this ability to expand our work into things that we really like to do and we are not forced to do. So while we have not taken away capitalism, because that is how the world works from capitalism. You want food, you want anything in the world, you have to put money on the table. So we are not taking away capitalism, we are just not making it primary.
Most open source business software makes money through one of these three models. Either they have a enterprise edition of which is paid, which is not open source, like Odoo, or they have an enterprise support package like Red Hat, or they have a SaaS pricing, which is based on per user, or it could be based on some other parameter. But we ended up not choosing any of these three. We chose to be 100% open source, which means all our products entirely are free and open source by default. And how we currently make money is by offering superior hosting for our products. So any open source product needs a reliable, scalable, secure hosting, and we've built Frappe Cloud to deliver exactly that. And that's why we see this growth happening on Frappe Cloud, because customers and partners are choosing Frappe Cloud and no other hosting alternative for hosting Frappe apps.
Frappe Cloud is such a platform where it becomes very easier for you, and at a click of few buttons, you can install applications like you install on your phones.
we believe that maybe 1 in 4 or 1 in 5 people who use our products use our cloud, but that gives us enough revenue to sustain our team of engineers and business people, and we also and also become a growing and profitable company.
I think partnership model is at the heart of ecosystem, I would say, because the product which we build is very high touch. Just building product won't be sufficient. The end users require lots of support and assistance to be able to complete the circle. And in that sense, last mile becomes very, very significant and important. And we have Frappe partners who are bridging that gap, and that's why they play a very, very important and central role in the entire success of Frappe ecosystem.
We help companies unify their operations mainly using ERPNext and Frappe.
We are a certified gold partner of ERPNext, working on ERPNext for almost 15 years now, more than 15 years almost.
We are a Frappe silver partner. I've been in the Frappe ecosystem for 7-8 years.
We are ERPNext silver partners. Since 2014, predominantly we have been into IT services. Initially, we were SAP Business One partners. We were doing Oracle NetSuite. We have done SAP S/4HANA, Odoo. But primarily when around 2018, we came across ERPNext. So that's where we realized that this is the product that we can actually deliver value, that can deliver value to our customer.
I had another friend who was starting a similar journey, and I was just talking to him, and he introduced me to ERPNext, and he was already an ERPNext partner. His name is Jignesh from Grey Cube. So he's the one who introduced me to ERPNext, and that's how we landed on ERPNext, and we never looked back. And now ERPNext is all we do.
We build solutions on the Frappe framework, and the conviction grew because we were able to build very large scale project at a very quick pace.
So I started as a single man service provider, and today we are a team of 15, and it has always been organic. There has never been a push from Frappe or any of the founding members or other members of Frappe that okay, Manan, you should get into the partnership program. It was also an organic moment, at the right point. I thought that, okay, now Frappe partnership makes sense. And that is when I entered into a partnership, a formal partnership with Frappe.
During our implementation journey with Frappe, we have also on our own developed our products or the modules, which are the supplier portal module. Second is the MRP, material requirement planning. Another is the sales forecast we have developed. And in last Frappeverse, I presented about the dispatch automation using the QR codes.
So first thing which is very important for us is we empower our partners. We make sure our partners succeed. We make sure all the quality parameters which we have defined for our partners, they've met all the parameters. Whenever a new partner gets onboarded, we make sure they have their right processes in place when it comes to how to do right business. We already define their business processes in terms of how they can do well business being a partner, being a Frappe partner. And the journey, like starting from an entry partner to a gold partner, we enable them to at each and every stage of the journey, and we make sure they succeed. This is what we, as a Frappe, we play a role for our partners.
ERPNext community was early, in the early days, it was just a user or the companies who are using the ERPNext and the provider. Provider means, I mean to say, the Frappe technology who was providing a product. There was no stand or there was no place of partners. But the way you designed the Frappe partner program, that gave us chance to become one of the important stakeholder in the overall ecosystem. And now partners have a equal say like OEM or like the users. So yes, partner ecosystem has grown very well in the last couple of years, and the kind of efforts Umair and the team is putting up for spreading out the partnership program is tremendously good. So it's doing well.
If I'm a customer, I can maybe add more value as a partner too, right? So that's how I applied. I spun off a company. I'm working with Chinmay again, and we have now spun off a company, and I'm a very new partner to the Frappe ecosystem. But I'm well conversed with the whole ecosystem because I've also taken Frappe developer training, right? So I know that, what are the innards of the framework, and I feel that I can add a lot of value now. So I'm now a partner.
Quickly set the context. So far, we have avoided even saying the word. We call it the M word because it's supposed to be like the name that can't be spoken. And the connotation is like when you use the word manager, it brings your typical corporate kind of organization where a manager is going to tell you what to do, when to breathe, when to use the toilet. But that is not the connotation that we want to bring in. I think managers have other things they can do, like give feedback, help you out with things you don't want to do. Like if there are certain things that you don't want to do, you can get a manager to help you with that.
The values at Frappe are totally different from a traditional organization. We don't have a hierarchy. We don't have managers looking over our work. There's freedom to pick your own work, pick your own pay. Decisions are made by everyone. Every decision gets discussed a lot till the end, until a majority is reached or until a consensus is reached. And that makes you feel more involved in the process. That gives you a sense of ownership, and that sense of ownership unlocks something in you wherein you, for me, I no longer look at myself as just a product engineer. I think of myself as a businesswoman, and my product, Frappe Learning, is my business. That has been unlocked only because of the culture at Frappe.
So firstly, I think it was more about freedom for me, where there was no manager sitting on top of my head controlling me that what you want to do, what you don't want to do, and where the second piece was where I was actively able to add value in discussions.
I enjoyed hopping from one department to another department. I really loved it. Like it sometimes it feels overwhelming because each department have something new, but I loved doing it. I loved moving from support to consultation, from consultation to renewals. I explored the revenue streams. I explored how the product works. I explored how the customer facing role is. I explored how the partner facing role is, because each role was very different. Each role required me to do multiple other things where I had to develop my skills as well. So Frappe gave me all those opportunity as well to learn those skills.
Frappe has this value of freedom which is baked into everything, including the software. We choose to set our software free as well. And then that applies everywhere else. It applies the kind of work that employees do. That means me. I get to choose what I want to do without any boundaries or any asterisks at all. There is freedom to choose my working hours. There is freedom to express myself. There is freedom to bring out my opinions and my ideas without any prejudgment. There is freedom to pick my pay also, as justified by the work that I do.
So picking the pay is just the step one. Behind it is step two, where you have to also justify your pay to yourself and then to your team. So yeah, it helps me do better work that way. I don't need to do work to please someone else. I need to do work that I find fulfilling and I feel satisfied about. So
I've never seen an NGO or any adult organization that acts like this with this much level of freedom in work and pay, in speech, all of that. I think we have excellent levels of freedom. That has a few disadvantages, like I said, the chaos and all of that. But I think these can mostly be mitigated and they teach you useful skills anyway. So the freedom is something I don't regret at all. Excellence, I'd say that we have a lot to go still. I feel like a lot of us, including me to be honest, don't have the standard of quality we'd expect from professional products. So Frappe has a decent, we have a lot of space to improve in that direction. Not all of the people are authentic, but most of the leaders are. So they're very upfront with feedback. They're very upfront about ideas. Nobody's pretentious here, I'd say that. So that gives you a good vibe because you don't have to deal with a lot of office politics. It's mostly, you're working and people are transparent and honest about what they're doing and what they want. So it does lead to conflict at times, but overall, it's better than being pretentious and politicky.
And when we're talking about authenticity, I think I would like to mention I have not read those books. You've seen the background.
So one of the best parts about the culture that I personally liked when I joined Frappe was the value of excellence. Having been myself in competitive environments, I've always had the pursuit of excellence, and that's something I saw in Frappe, which really inspired me to be my best version. And the best part is, I think excellence and freedom go like kind of hand in hand. The way freedom helps people to be the best version of themselves, I could see it and I experienced it in Frappe.
Community demands it, we do it. Like, I do not have to go through a longer decision making cycle which other companies does. Like, that freedom I get, and that's why we can see multiple, like, from other regions as well. Each region is thriving, each region is growing.
There are mechanisms like you have to write a post of what you have worked on every month, twice a month, which allows the individual to keep track of what they're doing and get active feedback, in-time feedback on their work, which allows us to better themselves and the product gets better over time.
So the tools that we use for transparency are open days, which we do every month. We have people presenting their work to everyone. It not only helps create transparency, I believe open days are a great creative platform for people to improve their communication skills, their presentation skills. Then we have game plan. So we are a very writing first organization. Being remote, that's absolutely essential for us. It's like oxygen. Information is oxygen when you're in a remote first organization. But there is a lot of information now because game plan is a portal we use to share our updates, what are we working on, and get feedback.
Most offsites that I've heard of, not that I've worked anywhere else yet, but I've heard of, have always been KO. There's like some award ceremony, there's like karaoke games and everything, but we do like so many discussions. Like we do heavy like company-wide decision-making discussions. And it's so interesting and it's so convenient also because everybody is there in one place and it makes sense to do it like at the offsite.
It was a foundation of the culture which we see at this point in time. We were trying to empower people, right? Making sure that they are right fit for this culture. And as this point in time, we can see that the people have adopted the culture really very well. So I see kind of a good change, yeah. But on a positive note, yes, people have accepted this culture very well.
There is no long-term vision to Frappe because we feel it is imposing. Frappe is whatever the people who work at Frappe want it to become, and it is just a culmination of the individual goals of every person. But my personal goal for Frappe is to be one of the great software companies of the world.
We should be competing with the Googles and Microsofts of the world. So I think that's a very aspirational dream. It does sound a little delusional, but most delusional dreams are the best ones to follow.
My dream for Frappe is I want to help at least build a company where we have this set of people who are highly collaborative, but at the same time have their own opinions.
See, I don't have a dream for Frappe, I think, but what I feel is Frappe should be that company known for its uniqueness and all the cool stuff that we build. It should be genuinely world class and it should have soul in it.
People can take their strengths into thrive and choose what they mostly enjoy. So that's really nice.
मेरा प्रेपे के लिए यही ड्रीम रहेगा कि मुझे प्रेपे को आईपीओ जाना देखना है, आईपीओ गया हुआ देखना है और बड़ी थिंग कि हम लोग को एक वर्ल्ड बेस्ट सॉफ्टवेयर कंपनी बनना है.
since we live in a place where you go through like values a lot but don't see it getting embodied everywhere when you're living in that place, it becomes kind of, you kind of take it for granted. But here it is very different. You see it every day. Even in discussions, even in debates, people bring up the point where that okay, this doesn't suit with the idea of a particular value, whether that is authenticity, freedom, etc. So people really think and embody it here more than anywhere else. So
Frappe is not just about building softwares. Frappe, I presume, it's a social experiment wherein all these values which we have, freedom, authenticity, we give these values to people so that they break the shackle of their own mind, which society imposes, learn new things and do things which otherwise they won't be able to, because environment does matter.
Rolling.
Yeah, Rushabh, you can go and action.
Hi, I'm Rushabh Mehta. I'm the founder and CEO of Frappe. Abhi, what is next?